have you can you tell us like a story of like where you place yourself in a position where you'd have to like challenge, authority, or the view of like, how like we're supposed to be, submissive to authority figures, like any kind of time in your high school or anything where you had to do something like that?
Yeah, man. When I was about, I want to say I was about maybe, I want to say I was 14 or 15, I believe. I was organizing with a grassroots organization at the time called Voices of Struggle, and they're fighting for Raza Chicano, youth empowerment, pretty much in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And they taught me a lot. And one of the campaigns that I tried to start here in South San Francisco, at South San Francisco High School, was the fight to get Raza studies. I set up a meeting with the superintendent. We went to the school board.
Like a shot from a revolucionario escacho. I come through.
We live right next to a train station.
Lonely, ducking all of the police like a fuck around.
Yeah, so like I was saying, we organized meetings and everything. And I remember sitting, me and one of my friends who was maybe just a year older than me, we were sitting there trying to advocate for Raza studies, and I brought my social studies history book, he brought his U.S. history book, and we told them, we opened up the page, we said our history isn't in here, and we demand to have our history. We want our history to be told, and we feel that, in a school that at that time was about 40%, Raza Latino, now it's looking more like 60%, or 50% now at the school. We say, our history needs to be reflected in what you're teaching. And
how old were you at that time?
At that time, like I said, I think I was about 14 or 15.
14 or 15.
And I remember the superintendent at the time, her response was, well, not everybody in the school is Mexican. Not everybody in the school speaks Spanish, right? She said a whole bunch of racist remarks, insinuating, what I was. Not knowing that, I told her straight up, I was like, I'm not only just Mexican, I'm also Guatemalan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I remember that was like one of the times that, I challenged somebody in power, about, the racism we face as young people of color. We rarely get our history taught. We rarely have teachers that represent our communities or understand our communities. We rarely have, people in power that represent, that either look like us or represent our needs or speak for us or advocate for us. And so a lot of times, we as young people or we as, young adults or people of color, we end up having to do the job that the system isn't doing for us already.
How did they respond to your challenge?
The response was that, I guess 3 to 4 pages on Latin America was sufficient enough.
Oh yeah.
On our history, and that therefore, that we couldn't have, Raza studies, and that it was kind of like, in their eyes, they felt like that it was ludicrous that I would be demanding such a thing, right? Fast forward now, I'm proud to say that, now at South City we do have an ethnic studies class. We actually have 3 ethnic studies classes for 9th graders, and that was something I was able to be a part of. And I feel really proud of that. That there's not. I think we might be one of the only schools in the peninsula that has a section on ethnic studies for young people, and that we're starting to open up those doors. And that's all giving praise to all the work that's been done for over 40 years, and specifically in San Francisco, where San Francisco and LA that have fought to implement ethnic studies as a requirement for some of their students.
That's cool. That's cool.